Choi, Director of Sunwah Vietnam and CEO of Sunwah Innovations. Mr. Nguyen, CEO of Sunwah Kingsway Vietnam and Saigon Asset Management. Ms. Nguyen, Vice Director of Sunwah High-Tech Vietnam. We are also thankful for the speakers who take time out of their busy schedule to help us make this workshop happen. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Trung and Nguyen, CEO of Phoenix Holdings. Mr. Alex Quynh, Senior Associate of Phoenix Holdings. Mr. Vũ Lê, Head of Strategic Partnership and Business Development of Grab. Mr. Phong Pham, Founder and CEO of Cyfeer. Mr. Doan, Senior Investment Manager of VinaCapital Ventures. Ms. Quynh Võ, Program Director of Zone Startups. Mr. Leo Pham, Associate of Access Ventures. And Mr. Peter Mock, Head of Strategic Partnership and Business Development of Hong Kong Science and Technology Parks, who join with us virtually later. Together with our partners from Ho Chi Minh City, Hanoi, Cambodia, Mainland China, Hong Kong, Macau, Singapore, Canada, South Korea, joining us both physically and virtually today. Thank you for your participation. And now, without further ado, I'm pleased to welcome Mr. Choi, Director of Sunwah Vietnam and CEO of Sunwah Innovation, on stage to deliver his welcome speech.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you today to participate the very first workshop hosted by Sunwah Innovation Center, Ho Chi Minh City, entitled Open Innovation Mechanism for Successful Corporate Startup Collaboration. This workshop is a part of a series of events to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Sunwah Group's operation in Vietnam, followed by 2 workshops tomorrow, which would be focusing on edutech and fintech. Our workshop today welcomes the participation of speakers and panelists from well-known corporates, investment firms, accelerators, and startups, including the Hong Kong Science and Technology Park, Sunwah Kingsway, VinaCapital Ventures, Access Ventures, Grab, Phoenix Holdings, Cyfeer, Palexy, and Zone Startups. They will share with us their valuable insights on the relationship between corporates and startups, as well as how to facilitate the success collaborations between both parties. In recent years, the phenomenon of open innovation has been on the rise in established corporates, especially in the terms of collaboration with startups. Open innovation refers to the creation of organization structures that constructs pathways for the movement of ideas between corporates and its external cooperators. This involves both of the use of external resources to spur the innovation inside the firm and outside in approach. The creation of entrepreneurial ventures and initiatives generate within the corporate. The workshop today will focus on the outside-in approach, specifically focus on the collaboration between corporates and startups. We believe that the large corporates can hugely benefit partners for startups, just as startups can be an innovative game changer for corporates. However, there are many challenges that affect the successful collaboration between both parties, such as differences in management styles, cultural barriers, and many more, which requires practical solutions. I believe our speakers and panelists today, with their tremendous experience as well as well-known positions in the market, will provide us for more insights on this matter. Ladies and gentlemen, Sunwah Innovations, a member of Sunwah Group, has been working with corporates startups, and other components in Vietnam startup ecosystem since 2018. We understand the hardships and challenges of startups and corporates are facing, especially during COVID-19 pandemic, and we would like to provide as much as support as we can. This morning, Sunwah Innovation Center Ho Chi Minh City and Sunwah International Innovation Platform has been officially launched to form a global network of leading universities, incubators, accelerators, investors, corporates, and other organizations in various cities and countries, showing Sunwah's commitment to developing an international innovation ecosystem to fuel the growth of startups and SMEs. In the coming time, we will work with our partners in the platform to co-organize activities, training courses, workshops, webinars on innovation, as well as utilize Sunwah Innovation Ho Chi Minh as the outlet to promote innovative products and services to the startups. With Sunwah Innovations and Sunwah Innovation Platform at two ends, we hope to bridge the gap between corporates and startups, as well as facilitate more win-win cooperation. In closing, I would like to express my appreciation to support we have received from the long-standing partners, as well as the speakers and panelists for joining us today. We really look forward to your valuable sharing and discussion. I am sure you will have fruitful exchanges and gain brand new perspective during the workshop. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Jesse Choi. As the very close partner of Sunwah Innovations, who has helped us to connect with many different stakeholders of the startup ecosystem, and also committed to providing investment, support, and services to the startup within the Sunwah Innovation Network, it's an absolute honor to bring to the stage Mr. Nguyen, CEO of Sunwah Kingsway Vietnam and Saigon Assets Management, for his welcome remark. Please welcome.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nguyen. I'm CEO of Sunwah Kingsway. Sunwah Kingsway is an investment arm, the financial arm of Sunwah Corporation. Sunwah Kingsway is a listed company in Hong Kong, and it's majority owned by Sunwah Corporation. So I want to tell you a little bit about what Sunwah Kingsway does and how it affects the innovation and how we can support it today. A little bit about Sunwah. A lot of in education projects, both in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. A little bit about Sunwah Kingsway. Sunwah Kingsway is a listed Hong Kong company that does mostly capital raising, IPO, listed companies in Hong Kong. And it has offices around the world, 7 offices around the world, including Ho Chi Minh City. And I'm the CEO of the Ho Chi Minh City branch. Sunwah Kingsway was listed in the top 10 IPO, number of IPO in the past 2 years, surprising to a lot of people. We would do a lot of track record in listing companies, mid and small size in the Hong Kong market. So specifically about Sunwah Group Chairman, this is Dr. Jonathan Choi. He has a lot of good relationship. This is Jesse's third generation. So Dr. Choi, Sunwah has been operating in Vietnam for 50 years. Today is the 50th anniversary. This third generation now. About the Sunwah Kingsway team, Dr. Choi is the CEO, the chairman. Michael Choi in Hong Kong is the CEO. I'm the Sunwah Kingsway CEO in Vietnam, and Ms. Trang, who is the chief rep in Ho Chi Minh City. So this is the last slide. It's going to be quick. So Sunwah Kingsway, exactly what does it do? Back in 2016, we announced like Sunwah will invest $100 million in companies in Vietnam related to these industries, specifically technology, real estate, F&B, education, media, and financial services. So what Sunwah Kingsway hope to do is to support the innovation center on the technology side. I myself came out of Silicon Valley in venture capital, and years ago I came here to set up the IDG Ventures Fund as well as DFJ VinaCapital. So that's how we met with Dr. Choi about 10 years ago. So that's a little bit about Sunwah Kingsway. I hope to get a chance to work with the various companies here at the Innovation Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Louis Nguyen. And now move to the main part of the workshop today. We will have 3 keynote speeches of around 20 minutes, followed by a 60-minute panel discussion and a 15-minute Q&A at the end. The workshop is in hybrid offline and online format. So for online participants via Zoom or the live stream on our Facebook, feel free to leave the question in the chat box or comment. Our staff will select 2 to 3 questions to raise to the panelists. For the participant in the hall, you can refer to the handout in the door gift to learn more about the speakers. And to get started, I'm pleased to invite Mr. Trung Nguyen, CEO of Phoenix Holdings, on stage to provide the overview in open innovations.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Trung. I'm from Phoenix Holdings. Just to give everyone a very quick briefly about Phoenix. So back to 15 years ago, we started with the investment in financial services and technology. It is where our focus is. So Phoenix is owning VinaCapital Bank, which is our bank. VinaCapital Securities, our security companies. VinaCredit, our consumer lending business. VinaCapital Asset Management, our asset management companies. And along with that, we also invest in fintech. We own a digital bank called Timo. We also invested in lending business. From peer-to-peer lending, we have Interloan, and micro SME lending, we have Kiman. And we also invest in digital payment, which is Mocha. So for the last 2 years, we're very focused on innovation in the fintech space. So today I would like to share the experience and also the story that we've been through, how corporate and ventures and startup has been working together. So what is innovation, open innovations? The first model on the right, which is the closed model, where startup and fintech, the corporate have a very limited innovations, but on the left is where the corporates attract a lot of ideas and innovation from outside and working together to create a much more deeper innovations. The statistics showing that with the open model, the internal and external working together can double the innovation success rate up to 80%. and the productivity increased from 40 to 60%. And also at the same time, the speed of innovations for the left models is 3 times higher than the closed model. What is the two ways impact to corporates and startups by innovations? So first of all, it allows incumbents to benefit, to offer a better user experience with the cost much more efficient. One of the experience that we have when we're doing banking business with Bản Việt, which is for the last, I think 2 years, when we started working with the digital bank Timo. Well, it's the fintech company, is the first digital bank in Vietnam. There's a lot of innovations that created for the bank, which is helping the bank and the fintech to work together in a same mindset and model, same approach, which create a lot of experience for better user experience for the app and also getting more users. So talking about getting more users, the bank for the last, I think just 3 months since launch the new Timo app, it's already bringing 3 times the customer that the bank have been building for the last 5 years. So it's just a very effective way in investing in technologies where you already have the licenses and the base. Now you invest in the new way to acquire the users. Why? Because in the traditional way of banking, you building branch where you can reach users through only the branch. But now with the apps, you can reach actually users everywhere. And also the users nowadays, the millennials and tech-savvy users, they don't go with branch anymore. So that's where fintech and incumbents can come together and support. Another impact for startup and corporate, which is it's helped startup and corporate to bring product to market faster. So another example that recently we're doing, which is in our consumer lending business with credit. It's the same segment with all the big boys like Epic Credit and Home Credit. How we innovate a way that we can have a product that can disrupt the current market, launching it in a much faster way. The only way to do it with a smaller company, which is integrated with the fintech companies who have disruptive products. So recently we're launching and working with a fintech partner who can generate and bring products to market within only 6 months, compared to if we're doing by ourselves, it would take a year or 2. Another impact is viral marketing. If we remember how VinFast launching their first car models, there's the competitions for startup and individuals to design and also launching the cars. So it's not also bringing in the good models for VinFast, but also it's create a lot of viral marketing. A lot of people know about the cars and a lot of potential user. And last but not least, the provider, startup, and corporates with a wealth of knowledge. In the world, we know that innovation labs or accelerators is one of the best ways to provide startup founders with a lot of knowledge and understanding about how to launch a product. Because founders may have a lot of ideas, but also at the same time, they may need to have experienced people, expert to help them to launch the product in the right way. So one of the very successful accelerator program, Y Combinators, they launching and helping a lot of startup launching in the world. One of the very successful case back to 2009, where Y Combinators helping Airbnb, nowadays one of the largest room sharing companies, by just investing typically $150,000 for each startup, winning in the demo day of them with the educations and resources sharing from Y Combinator's experts. And it helps them nowadays have a valuation of more than $30 billion. So, so looking to the future of what's corporate and startup can cooperate and then doing open innovations. The first thing is that we need to have more partnership between startup and incumbents. For example, banks. Like I believe that the partnership like what Timo and VinaCapital Bank doing will be applied to more and more startup in Vietnam and corporate in Vietnam as well. Another example of startup, fintech, or tech startup with corporate companies just winning the award in Singapore recently, which is Singtel and Grab. They just won one of the first digital license when they're teaming up. Another example of innovation, which is cross industries partnership, where 2 years ago, I remember when I started thinking about how Mocha, one of the digital payment back then with the license, can grow. And we think about how ecosystem player like Grab, Seas, and all the big e-commerce companies can grow. They definitely need a digital payment transaction platform and license. That's where we approach and talking with Grab. And 6 months after that, Grab acquired Mocha. And now Grab become the dominant shareholders of Mocha, and also the CEO of Mocha now become CEO of Grab Financials. So this is where the way that I think it will continue to happen, and it continue to transform in the way. Another direction, which is more idea competition. So idea competitions nowadays, we can see a lot of different startup pitch and competitions for startup and tech companies. One of the very reputable fintech startup in Vietnam, which called Fintech Challenge Vietnam, co-organized by the State Bank of Vietnam. It's already 2 years, and we also participate at Phoenix. We also participated last year as a co-sponsors. And the result is great because we also have a chance to seeing a lot of startup. We working with a lot of participants and stakeholders, but at the same time we also can potentially invest in companies. So Interloan, a peer-to-peer lending platform, is one of the companies that we found out through the Fintech Challenge Vietnam, and we invested last year. And VC investment. Everyone here, I'm sure you know, more and more regional VC. There's more and more angel investor and local VCs set up this year and last year. And I think 2 weeks ago in Hanoi, the Ministry of Planning and Investment also announced 800 million commitment from all the VCs in Vietnam region to the space. So it's also push up the whole platform of technologies and innovations in the countries. And last but not least, innovation labs, right? Everyone here today because Sunwah Innovation Lab launching. And back to, I think, a long time ago, Sunwah already support a lot for the innovation and startup space in Vietnam, especially since 2018. And we believe that with the contribution of Sunwah, with the launch of Innovation Lab, there's more space and more groundwork for startup in Vietnam to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trung and Nguyen. And now I would like to invite Mr. Vũ Lê, Head of Strategic Partnership and Business Development of Grab, to provide a closer look into open innovations from the corporate perspective. Please welcome.
Hi, congratulations on the Sunwah 50 years anniversary, and thanks a lot for having Grab here today. we'll make it as meaningful as possible. So my name is Vũ, and I'm responsible for the strategic partnership across Grab as of business development. So Riley, a lot of my scope, I think, and Trung has rightly pointed out cross-industry partnership, how to work with startups, and I think I'll go very deep in how we are going to collaborate with startups today. Right, so Grab started in 2012 in Malaysia, and our core business at that time was all about transportation. We set out to solve a very simple problems in Southeast Asia at that time was actually 3 problems. One is safety. When you take transportation, it's not safe across Southeast Asia market. Secondly is price transparency. You don't know how much you're going to pay for a certain destination. And thirdly, it's about reliability, right? Driver quality, vehicle quality. So we set our Grab to solve just that. Transportation was our core, and that is why we grow into food delivery, express delivery, and also recently in March we launched our online grocery shopping delivery called GrabMart. So that was our core business. So whatever that's not our core, we decide from day one when we set up the business is to look for partner that work with us. So Mocha was one example. Mocha was a great addition to our ecosystem as a digital payment solutions. We also work with different strategic partnership regionally, hotel booking, one example. Agoda.com is one example. We recently in a very deep partnership with Lazada in Vietnam, which enable Lazada user to book Grab, and at the same time, Grab user can enjoy curated offering from Lazada merchandise. So we have 2 focus, right? One is we focus on our core businesses, which is GrabFood, transportation, delivery, and GrabMart. And whatever is not our core, our second focus is to look for a partner that build it and do it with us. So basically, there are expertise that we will not need to buy or build, which you need to cooperate. So that's what we've been doing for the last 6 or 7 years. And I think that has brought us certain success in what we're doing today. In 2018, I remember we did a research, and it was out of 7 smartphones in Southeast Asia, there was 1 smartphone with Grab. Today, in 2020, after 2 years, out of 3 smartphones in Southeast Asia, 1 is with Grab. So the phenomenal growth is not only because of our core services, but it's also because of the services that we bring from our partners. So what we look for in strategic partners, and I think by strategic partner, we mean also the big corporations as well as also the startups, right? So the way that we approach our partnership remain very consistent, even regardless of the size of the company that you have. One is we look for partners that share the same vision, the same agenda of uplifting people's lives, right? So we're looking for a partner that has services that are very similar to us, which is daily essentials. Secondly, we're looking for services that have market fit. So things that work in Indonesia might not work in Singapore and probably doesn't work in Vietnam. So we have to be very careful on the product that we select to work with. And fourthly, we're safe and reliable. And I think for Grab, we place a huge emphasis on safe, meaning data confidentiality, data protection, privacy policies, and how do we ensure that we target the right customer segment without exposing the customer data. And that's very key to our business. And my last slide is illustrate the type of partnership that we have, regional strategic partnership, local partnership, and also through our Grab Venture Ignite that we did about for a 7-month campaign. Throughout, we screened through 300 startups. We selected 13 startups, and finally we selected 5 startups to work very closely with us. And all of the 5 startups, we do have very meaningful commercial partnership with each and every one of them. So I think the core to how would Grab as a corporation also, and our DNA as a startup, to work with startup is to really have that discipline, the humbleness, to look for that right market fit, to look for that right industry, so that we can both invest our time, our effort, our people take the solution on it too. Well, we're happy to also share a lot more in our panel discussion later. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Vũ Lê. We just learned about the open innovations experience from a corporate. So how about the other side of this partnership? Please help me welcome Mr. Phong, founder and CEO of Cyfeer, to hear about his takeaways from partnering with corporates. Mr. Phong, please. Press. Mr. Phong, please. Press. Mr. Phong, please. Press. Mr. Phong, please.
So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Press.
So, thank
Mr.
you,
Phong,
Sunwah,
please.
for this great opportunity.
So,
good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Press.
So, thank you,
Mr.
Sunwah,
Phong,
for
please.
this great opportunity. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. About
Mr.
how
Phong,
Sunwah,
please.
for this great opportunity. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. About
Mr.
how
Phong,
lucky
please.
today I have opportunity. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. With quick line. Yeah. Maybe this is some kind of personal experience that I can share with you today. But I hope that you can have a better chance to look at that how Vietnamese startups are working right now. So at first, let me spend like just 2 minutes telling you about what we do right here. So the condos is one of the fastest growing market in Vietnam and around the world in crowded country. And you can see that next 10 years, the condominium will be the dominant living space in around the crowded city, in Ho Chi Minh, in Hanoi, and around Southeast Asia. And what we do here is we build a property management platform, which is digitalize all the management process inside one building or complex, and as well as we enrich the experience, the service, and the activity of the resident through our application. So here's what we do. We meet with Sunwah team in Vietnam in 2018, and we have become one of the team that they sponsor to be compete in Hong Kong in 2018, and then at this competition we in the top 10. So actually it's very encouraging for us, and it's the momentum. It also the very first time that we work with the corporation. So from that point up to now, 2 years. So we now have a lot of customers back inside our system. We start with this very small and medium company, property management company. And then now, after 2 years, our experience, our capacity allowed us to serve the top tier player in this field, as you can see here. And recently, we have a contract with the CBRE, and actually, we signed a contract with CBRE in Singapore, and we provide also our system outside of Vietnam. And that's what we do. So to talk about the lesson we learned from partnering with this corporate. So I think with the two sides. The very first one, we look like a startup first. So there are two types of startup to cooperate with the corporation. I can see that the very first one is the one that want to build their image. I must say that there is a lot of startup outside in Vietnam, like 1,000 of them. So how can you stand out? How can you raise your voice? How can you work with the customer? How can you raise funds? It's a lot of things, and just a lot of them. So the easy way to make you stand out is just put your name next to the corporation for the image. So you can see there's a lot of startups trying to okay, I have a signing ceremony with some big corporation or something like this. I think it's fair enough because we're too small. Nobody knows about us. So we need to build my image. But it's not a silver bullet. Because if you just rely too much on building the image, it's going to damage your business. I have seen a lot of founders, they go to a lot of events, they pitching a lot, and they make a lot of promise to a lot of corporations. But at the end of the day, it's our capacity. We cannot make a lot of things at the same time when your resource is limited. So it may end up very bad if you just keep chasing something that's not for real. Okay, you need a corporation, you need a partnership, but make sure that you find the right one. So it's my very first thing about this one. And about the second thing, about someone who set up, they want to be the real player. Okay? So they want to be partnership because actually we learned a lot from partnering with the corporation. We know how to do big deal. We know how to make a proper contract. We know how to know like workflow, customer service. We learn a lot from partnering with the corporation. And, but sometimes we're too into this. We have a plan, we need a customer, we need a cash flow, but sometimes we're not just, you're just so into working with the like partnership, and sometimes we forget our plan, and when we look back, we may fail. I have seen a lot of time that I am trying so hard to learn from them and to fulfill their expectation or requirement, but it turns out that we do not have enough time to do something else. It may also end up bad as well. But if you really want to learn from them or you want to build the image, everything is okay. But you need to balance. The ways of I see in the point of startup, but how about the point of corporate? I must say that I don't have any experience about this one. But actually, I do some research because whenever I want to propose something to a corporation, I need to know about their insights, I need to know about their motivation. So I also see two things of them. The very first one, that they will cooperate with the startup which have direct benefit or aligned benefit with them. And they also help to support the startup with the resource or the service they have. For example, I work with some technologies corporation. I add up my value to their core value, and then they spare some kind of like cloud, some kind of platform for us, and they also cut the cost. It working both ways is good. And I think that there's a lot of the startup and the corporation now working in this way. It's a direct benefit for everybody. And I say it's quite risky for the corporate, because as a startup, I know that we like a lot of things, and sometimes we fake it before we can make it. And it can put the corporation into very risky situation. And to be honest, I really try to avoid this. But sometimes just to grow up, we need to pay some price. And another thing, in another situation, we have a lot of corporations who simply they just want to make it better for the society. So they provide environment for us to grow. They can connect it with the VC in their network. They can help us in a lot of ways. And they just didn't think about that, what they're going to gain back. I think that simply they just want to build the next generation of the business much better than right now. So to be honest, I have seen not so many kind of this kind, but there still are some of them out there. So it's just a theory that we come up with from the time to time. And actually, we have been in every situation that I have mentioned here about. So I will give you two quick case studies that we have been through in the last 2 years. So the very first year is in early of 2018. So we was, actually this time I was not the one who did the keynote speech, but Mr. Leo. We have been invited into the very big conference about smart city held by the Fraunhofer. And it's about, it's a Germany institution. And when everybody talking a lot about, okay, we build a smart city, we have a lot of like an innovation, a cutting edge device, something like this. So we give another opinion. We think that even that if you want to build something like smart city, it needs to become from the human first. So your building managers, are they good enough? Or even your residents, are they ready for this? So it must come from the human first. We need to have a standard in the management first. We need to have a standard in how we behavior, and then we can surround us with a lot of things, but not the way back. So that's our opinion. Truly, I didn't hope that anybody could consider it like an idea, good idea. But then after the event, we received a lot of offer for the partnership from a lot of corporate. And next 3 months, I spent a lot of time just going to the event with them. I meet with a lot of very important persons, something like this. We have dinner, we have lunch all the time. And when it's time to take action, I look back and I see that we're just a team of 5 members. How can we do this? We make a lot of promises that we cannot keep. We think that we can align every interest into one place, but no, we cannot. And at that time, I was really down, and I must go around and say sorry to our partner. And at that time, I so disappointed in myself. And I even think that maybe we just should stop, slow down for a little bit. Yeah, and that's what exactly we do. So we spend almost 1 year later just to first, complete our target. We get some customer, we have interaction, we have some money, and we build a team with a strong workflow. And now we can have, better preparation for the bigger game. And that's the very first failure when, I trying to chasing something too big for me. And the second thing, it's just like 6 months ago. So it's another story. We signed a contract with the project back in Hanoi, back in the north of Vietnam, in Hai Phong. And it's was by the Japanese property developer. They built a complex in Hai Phong. And they signed a contract to use our system for the management. And then they put us to work with their main contractor, the technology contractor. At that time, it's very difficult for us because actually we advised them against all of their like vendor. Because we said that we are now in COVID. We need to head into like a touchless experience. And you build something nearby the beach. It's about the moisture, it's about the salty, it's about a lot of things. You cannot just simply apply other things into this place. I don't think it works. So it just stuck there. They didn't listen to our advice. So, and I think that actually it's not my problem. And actually it's not my money that they wasted, so it's okay. But when we talked to our team, and we remember that we built site home just to want to first to set a standard. We want to make it like everybody can have the better experience living in an apartment, which is in the future. So if we just let it go, so what will happen? So then we keep insist on our idea. You need to change it. So we spent like nearly 3 months just to go around in the quality control laboratory. We take the sample and we give them the result that's here. It's gonna bad for your construction, and we also collect a report about a similar project nearby the pitch, and they apply another kind of the device into this system. And finally, after 3 months, they accept our consultancy. And I do not think anything further. I just complete my part. But last month, they come back to us and they invite us to collaborate in another 5 projects back in Hanoi. So I think that it's very good stuff for us to be partnership with the corporation. Not because we trying to be, but we try to help them to deliver the value they want to their customer. So that's our way of view. So in short, if we must say something like, okay, something that you tell me about the lesson. So I think on the before thing, first of all, you need to know exactly what you are doing, what you can, and what your partner, what they want. And the second thing, don't go to the battle without a sword. Yeah, you're gonna get hurt. You need to be well prepared for everything which coming. You expect it. You expect that, okay, your name you put is something very big. You need to prepare for it. And the third one, don't chase the rainbows. Sometimes, it's just too big for you. You just need to step back and you need to prepare for this. And finally, you need to focus on delivering the value. It's not the money, not the reputation for yourself, but the value for your customer. So that's our point of view when working with the corporation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Phong. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning we had the ceremony of Sunwah 50th anniversary in Vietnam. And during this celebration, we also launched the Sunwah International Innovation Platform. The goal of the platform is to use Sunwah Innovation Network as the base to connect with different stakeholders within the startup ecosystem in different countries and locations to promote the cross-border innovation and entrepreneurship development. So to let you know more about the platform, now I would like to invite you to watch a video to introduce about the platform.
This is Peter Mok from Hong Kong Science Park. Congratulations on Sunwah's 50th anniversary in Vietnam and the opening of the Sunwah Innovation Center. Home to 900 tech ventures from 23 economies around the world, we're connecting them to various stakeholders in the innovation and technology ecosystems in the Greater Bay Area, Asia, and beyond. Our award-winning incubation program and the Global Acceleration Academy nurture tech ventures and connect them with leading corporates and investors around the world, promoting entrepreneurship and corporate innovation in the region. The Sunwah International Innovation Platform is an important initiative that helps to catalyze the long-term development of open innovation. I'm very pleased to have the chance to work together, and I look forward to utilizing our collective wisdoms to create a better world.
Quest Ventures is a leading venture fund for companies that have scalability and replicability in large internet communities. Since 2011, Quest Ventures has focused on an overarching digital economy strategy across Asia, and is one of the largest early-stage technology investors in artificial intelligence, e-commerce and marketplaces, entertainment, finance, food, insurance, logistics, media, property, sports, and the Islamic digital economy. Quest Ventures actively develops the regional startup ecosystem with our strategic partners across Southeast Asia and Central Asia. I'm delighted to join you all at this official launch of the Sunwah International Innovation Platform. With the launch of this platform, Quest Ventures looks forward to co-create a global innovation network of leading investors, ecosystem stakeholders, and universities, which will foster cross-border collaboration and exchanges among partners. Together with Sunwah Innovations, we expect to build a more connected startup and innovation ecosystem in Vietnam and Asia.
大家好，非常荣幸受邀参加今天的典礼。我谨代表暨南大学，对胡志明市兴华创新中心的开幕和兴华国际创新平台的启动表示热烈的祝贺。暨南大学创办于1906年，是中国历史最悠久的大学之一。早在2001年，我校就与兴华集团开展合作，19年来，双方保持着良好的合作关系。今年8月，双方在大健康领域达成了新的合作意向。今天，暨南大学很高兴加入兴华国际创新平台，成为平台的一员。我相信，这一新平台的启动将会开启暨大与兴华集团合作的新篇章，为进一步促进中越科技、教育与人文的交流发展做出我们的贡献。
Good morning. On behalf of Hong Kong Cyberport, I would like to send my warmest congratulations and best wishes to all of you at the launch of Sunwah International Innovative Platform, SWIIP. Dr. Jonathan Choi and Sunwah Group have been sparing no efforts in promoting innovation and technology as a growth engine for the region for a long time. The establishment of this platform is just at the perfect timing. With the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP, signed in November this year, we can expect significant further growth for the collaboration between Vietnam and its counterparts in the innovation and technology sector. As a leading innovation and technology hub in Hong Kong and the Greater Bay Area, with 1,600 startups and tech companies in its community, Cyberport strives to support our entrepreneurs along their journey, from seed funding, solution development, to client acquisition and fundraising, and overseas business development. We also leverage our global network to assist startups in expanding their footprints to potential overseas markets, including ASEAN countries. And we are delighted to partner with SWIIP for our startups to explore the promising Vietnam market. For Vietnamese startups eyeing the Greater China market, especially the Greater Bay Area, Cyberport would be your ideal springboard and navigator. And we can also invest in you. Congratulations again, and we look forward to working closely with SWIIP and its partners to seize the upcoming opportunities in the region together. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of National University of Management, I would like to congratulate our concluded MOU agreement with Sunwah Innovation Center in Vietnam. As you all know that we NUM and the Sunwah Group have signed agreement to cooperation to establish the Jonathan KS Cultural Center and Innovation in NUM campus. And so that we are very, very pleased to cooperation with the Sunwah's international platform in Vietnam in order to support global innovation and entrepreneurship development.
Hello everyone, very happy to meet all of you. I am Professor Nguyen, the head of the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship at the University of Macau. Innovation has been a very important element at the University of Macau besides teaching and research. We are looking forward to be a partner of the Sunwah International Innovation Platform with the resources to be integrated from both the Sunwah platform and the University of Macau. We will be able to provide more resources for students from not only Macau but also the other regions in Asia for them to create greater impact to the society. And really happy to see our dream become real. Congratulations.
Alo, test. Alo, 1, 2. Alo, 1, 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next session is going to start, so please come back to your seat. Please help come back to your seat so we can start our panel discussion soon. Please. Ladies and gentlemen, please come back to your seat. Please finish your tea break and come back to your seat so we can start our next session. May I have the attention of the participants in the right corner? We are going to start now, so please help come back to your seat. Ladies and gentlemen, and now we will start our panel discussion. We bring into the panel the representatives from corporates, startups, VC, accelerators, ecosystem builder with the efforts to have a multiple perspective discussion on open innovation mechanisms to promote successful corporate and startup partnership. Please join me in welcoming the panelists. Mr. Doan, Senior Investment Manager from VinaCapital Ventures. Anh ngồi ở. Ms. Quynh Võ, Program Director of Zone Startups. Mr. Vũ Lê, Head of Strategic Partnership and Business Development of Grab. Mr. Alex Wing, Senior Associate of Phoenix Holdings. Mr. Tony Do, Founder and Chairman of Palexy. Mr. Phong Pham, Founder and CEO of Cyfeer. And Mr. Peter Mock, Head of Strategic Partnership and Business Development of Hong Kong Sand and Technology Parks, who join with us from Hong Kong. Thank you so much, Peter. Just a little bit of background. We have been working closely with HKSTP since 2018 to nominate Vietnamese startups to enter top 100 of the elevator pitching competition. And actually, it's one of them today as shared by Mr. Phong. Cyfeer made to top 10 finalists in 2018. And last but not least, a very special thanks to Mr. Leo Pham, Associate of Access Ventures, who helped us to moderate the discussion today.
Thank you, thank you. Hello, can everybody hear me well? Yes? Okay, so first of all, thank you to the Sunwah Innovation team, especially Miss Katie, who invited me to be the moderator for today. I'm Leo. I'm the associate and representative of Access Ventures in Vietnam, which is a Korea-based fund that invests in South Asia for the past 4 years. And I'll invite the rest of the panelists to introduce themselves for a few minutes before we get started. Phong, you want to start?
Yeah, so again, I'm Pham, the founder of Cyhome. With the startup, we built a property management platform. Thank you.
My name is Tony Do. I am the co-founder and CEO of Palexy, Google Analytics for physical retail.
Hi everyone, my name is Alex and I'm an associate at Phoenix Holdings. As Trung and Phoenix Holdings, we have VC and family office investment funds in Vietnam. Yeah.
Hey, my name is Vũ, and I'm the Head of Strategic Partnership and Business Development for Grab Vietnam.
Hi everyone, my name is Quynh. I'm the Program Director of the Zone Startup Accelerator Program in Vietnam.
Good afternoon. First, I want to thank you, Mr. Choi, to have us here today, and congratulations on the 50-year anniversary. Trí Doan, the Senior Investment Manager at VinaCapital Ventures.
All right, so now that we have the names of everyone here and then what they're doing, I would like to start with a question for Quynh and Trí. So you both come from the venture capital accelerator background, but also work very closely with corporates and startup alike. So based on your past experience, can you share with us some of the cases, some of the examples of companies that you invested, that you work with, that successfully collaborate with corporates?
Sure. So let me go back a little bit on the context. So right now, all like the traditional business as well as the corporations, from the top executives to the working level, they all have an urge to really go for digital transformation, or in order to not be left behind or just like FOMO. So, but then like the corporations, they don't have the right team to do that, or like the project managers cannot have like the same DNA of like original founders. So they just couldn't like deliver as like the startup founders. So there's open opportunities for startup to really have a really deep collaboration with like corporations and traditional business. A few examples. So in our portfolio, we have Yarbox, white label loyalty solution. So actually, like Yarbox strategy is to serve like the industry leader of each vertical. So their clients vary among like Vietnam Airlines, Vietcombank, AIA. So on the top sector, you see the leaders will be like Yarbox clients. So for example, like Vietnam Airlines. So Vietnam Airlines, they do have the loyalty program for themselves, but the frequent flyer can only redeem the miles into another flight or in-air service. So Yarbox come in to build up like the white label solution for Vietnam Airlines frequent flyer to really like redeem their miles whenever like it's almost expired, when like during, especially in COVID time. So Yarbox will connect the frequent flyer into like the network of like 15,000 offline merchants through the network. So it's a real collaboration example between like startup and existing established industry leader. Another example like for Lousy Van. So Lousy Van like started with like the trucking marketplace. So they trying to resolve the pain point in the market, like try to fulfill the returning empty trucks. So going through like for first year of operation, they onboarded over like 55,000 like truckers on their platform. So from that, they can like go to the B2B clients and pitch that, okay, we have like the fleet of 55,000 trucks. So what do you want us to help you with? So actually, like they secure the contracts with like leading corporate clients, including Sabeco, Vina Milk, Ajinomoto, and the one like the Cook Group family from Malaysia. So they owning the Nam Dương soy beer, soy sauce in Vietnam. So the other approach that Lousy Van come to other 3PL players that they said that, okay, so you have the fleet, but own like the 3PLs, including the top names like Maersk and DHL, they match the truck manually. So Lousy Van will like serve them like providing the white label like TMS, like WMS, the warehouse management system for them to really help the clients to track the stocking SKU from the warehouse to the destination. So that's a few examples I want to give like for the collaboration between like startup and leading corporations.
What about you, Quynh?
As you guys know, I work for the accelerator programs and mainly work with the tech startups. And one of our pillars is to connect the startup with the corporate. So I might have a lot of examples here. For example, we have one company sitting here named Clowy sitting with us. They are working with TTG. Clowy is doing the IoT software and hardware to measure water and electricity at the building. So they're working with Becamax. They work right now, negotiate with Becamax and also already sealed a contract with TTG Real Estate. We have the new company just joined our portfolio called Way. They're doing gamifications. They work with many big corporate like Vingroup recently, and they work with Sun Kim Retails, GS Shop. And the share portfolio with Alex here. We also have Bravo HR. They're doing rewarding a loyalty platform for corporate, and they work with TalentNet, one of the leading HR company in Vietnam. So because the major of the accelerator program that Zone working is to connect the corporate with the startup. So all of the company in our portfolio kind of work with all of the corporates.
Right, so let me ask you both a question then. So based on these examples, what kind of common theme you see in these partnerships? So what kind of common characteristic that these companies have?
For me, I think, first of all, I think the first common is the team, the founding team. They very, they have experience working in the field for 5-6 years, and they spin up doing the thing that they exactly knows what they're doing. They solve the problems that they already experienced in their working life previously. Also, they select their team member selectively, and also they really solve the problem and flexible enough to serve each of the client differently.
Chi, what about you?
Okay, so to further elaborate what like Quynh just said, that I think at the early stage of the startup, like technology is just like the enabler. So it helps the user go, the corporate client go with user. But then like the key successful for early stage startup is like industry know-how, operations know-how. So mostly like for founder we back, so they have like years of experience, or they have the family business already working that industry like large events. So actually link the founders, they have the family have like operate in logistic industry like for 20 years. So we really values like the industry know-how and operation know-hows, and then next is like the superiority in technologies. That's the I think like two successful factor for the startup to have.
Thank you very much. So move on to Vũ. So I think for Grab, you have operated two very successful corporate accelerator program, that is Grab Ventures Ignite in Vietnam, which just wrapped up the first batch, and Grab Venture Velocity in Indonesia, which has been, the third batch? Yes. So based on your past experience looking at these companies through these programs, again, same question with these two, is that what kind of characteristic that you see make up for a successful startup corporate partnership?
Yeah, I think great questions. I think there are two very common traits that we do look for. One is the founding team, and we look for very, very specifically in the founding team love for product. So we place a lot of emphasis on product itself. So the team need to know product inside out, one, and secondly on the founding team is the team member they bring in, and also the team member that they retain, right? So that speaks for a lot for the founding team. That's one of our core, tasks when we look at this startup. The other thing is about market fit product, and I think more importantly is how fast the team sort of adapt or be flexible in changing the strategy if the product doesn't fit the market, right? And to us, that's what we see as very clear and very key when we look at the hundreds of startups that we work with.
Thank you very much. So Alex, I do want to move the topic a little bit. So earlier, Trung, the CEO of Phoenix, mentioned about T-Mobile Bank, which was one of your recent investments. Can you share with all of us here, like what was the reasons behind the investment? Like what do you see in T-Mobile Bank that push for the decision to invest?
Well, so we're very interested in the future of banking in Vietnam. Just to give you an example, nowadays there are probably about 55 million people in Vietnam, as you might not be aware, that are underserved or unbanked, right? And we believe that the fastest way for us to solve this problem is through technology, right? And we look around and we see that T-Mobile has a very strong team, right? And T-Mobile is one of the first, if not the first, fully digital bank in Vietnam. And they build user experience, and all their core values is really in line with our philosophies. So naturally we look at it and we see it's very obvious for us to invest in T-Mobile. Right.
So what's your plan for the future with this partnership? Where you see VinaCapital Group and T-Mobile is going to go?
Well, so we really believe in financial inclusions in general. And we believe that it's going to be achieved through one digital platform. So right now we work with T-Mobile in a few other projects, and to make sure that we offer all the digital products in one platform. And we believe that we look at Timo team, we believe that we have a very strong team and we really have a good position to do so.
So combine that with your other fintech portfolio, you see like Timo will be a first of many collaboration between traditional banks and fintech in Vietnam moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. So certainly we see there's a huge gap between traditional players and fintech. And we see a lot of good example recently, like just example Grab and Mocha, and Timo and VinaCapital is a new partnership, and we don't see the trends going down anytime soon. In fact, we forecast there's definitely way more collaboration between fintech and corporations. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So just shifting gears a bit. So now we're going to talk to we talk to corporates, we talk to investors. Now we're going to talk to the founders, the startup founders, about their experiences working with corporate. So I think this is a question for both of you, Phong and Tony. Can you share with us some of your frustrating moments, some of the challenges when working with corporate partners, corporate clients?
I think one of the most frustrating moments is to pick the right clients. I mean, when I say right clients, I mean there's clients who are more conservative, right? There are people who are more risk averse, and also there are people who are more risk taker, right? And it's important to pick the right one, especially for innovative solution, especially when you are one of the first in the market, especially when you are the pioneer in the field, and there's no other solution in the market, and you're the one who educate about the market. So I think finding the right partner, I mean, it's not client, it should be a partner, right? Because in the early days, it's about like working together to build the solutions that work for corporates. So it's more about partnership than clientship.
Can you share some like maybe an example of a frustrating moment?
The frustrating moment is when I pick the wrong one, right? So basically, when people I expected the executive, the top level executive, committed much better in terms of not just the budget, but also in terms of resources, right? Have people to act on the kind of insight that our solution provide, but it ends up like they don't have the data team to actually make action on that. So it turned out that what we provide wasn't helpful for them, right?
Understood. So Phong, you mentioned on your keynote speech earlier some of the lesson learned. You work with corporate clients and partners. So can you share like any like maybe a frustrating moment during your time being a founder working with a corporate client?
Yes. So actually, I have to totally agree with Tony about this one, the picking the right one. So not to mention the name, of course.
No name dropping. No name dropping.
Of course.
This is being live streamed, so let's not name names.
Oh, I haven't. I thought that they could be our customer because actually I have sat with their chairman and see that they really want to build an ecosystem inside their complex. They're looking for the very good thing. And I believed in their dream because actually we believe in why they do something, not how they do it. So, but it just start because actually they're too busy, so they just pass it to another department. And this is when my bad experience coming to. So, we work with them like nearly 2 years. They keep changing their key person. And every time they change the key person, we go back there and do everything over again. I really, at first I really get angry. But then I thought that, okay, actually, when they need to hire another people, when they need to do something over again, it's dumb that they don't want to do it. So I think that we need to share this experience with them. So I keep trying, to help them. And in 2 years, we are the only provider that can work with them. And then it comes to an end. They open the bid. So we get in the bid, and we are the first one to pitch our solution to them. And there are 4 competitors. And the last one, they have the exactly same slide with us. I don't know how. And then we were rejected. After 2 years, we rejected. I think that, okay, maybe we do something wrong, maybe we're not good enough. But the one they choose, they don't even register as a company. They don't have one single customer. Okay, I think it's okay for us. But when the internal, because I will work with them for 2 years, I know a lot of people inside the mechanic, and they talk to me like they said to the boss that you are not professional. You always late for the deadline. You always like fail to send the email, something like that. They said something like I don't know how they can think about this. So after 2 years, and now they keep postponing the whole project. And they even built a new company named that, the technologies of the corporation to do something like this. Yeah, then that's very frustrating experience. And the thing I learned from that, I keep trying to see that what is the kind of experience that I should name it. So Tony said that the picture right, picture wrong one. Yeah.
Sorry to hear that. So yeah, I guess open innovation doesn't, when you say open, also we have to be willing and to be ready from the corporate and the startup side. So to speak on that, I think I would like to go to our friend in Hong Kong, Mr. Peter Mok of Hong Kong Science and Technology Park. Yourself and the policy in Vietnam, so we can learn more about what you guys are doing over there. And if I may, So HKSTP, so the Hong Kong Science Technology Park has been connecting startups and corporates for many years. So based on your experiences, what's the success rate looks like? How many out of, let's say, 10 matching, how many actually come to collaboration? So now go back to Vietnam side. So based on what I just heard, I think that there's a pretty good success rate for the startup corporate collaboration in Hong Kong, but that might not be the case of Vietnam. So may I have one of each, so one founder and one investor, accelerator to answer this question. So what do you think is the reason the startup corporate relationship in Vietnam doesn't yield as much success? Tony, you want to go first? I think Quynh, you're next.
Yeah, I know how successful right now, right? Because it depends a lot on the startup and the corporate, case by case. There's no industry report on this. But based on our experience, I think it's still about the being open, right? Innovation, people talk a lot, but not well prepared for that, right? In terms of change management. It's all about people, right? You can talk, but when it comes to investment, it comes to if they have the right people to execute. So I think in many corporate that we have been working with, the problem comes back to people is just not like open enough to take the take risks. Yeah, that's probably the biggest one.
Quynh, anything to add?
So for me, I think there's two sides. It's the corporate side and the startup side. Like Phong mentioned before, some startup, they think corporate are like, they have a lot of money, so they're willing to pay, so they just fake it before they can make it, and different expectations. So a lot of startups also, they send a lot of questions to us, say, asking, what if I present the idea to the corporate and they steal my idea? So it's not open innovation anymore. It's become closed innovation at that situation. And then for corporate side, I think in Vietnam it's a little bit different. I can divide it into an SME and a big corporate. So SME, at the moment, they think a lot about the revenue, the profit and loss and incentive for the staff. So they don't have, they don't have time for applying innovation in their corporate, in their company anymore. And then once they realized that, for example, COVID happened, and they was like, what should I do now? Even for the staff, when innovation applied into their company, they was like, then how about, reskill for them? How about upskill for them? They don't have all of that. It's like something surprise for them. The second thing I think for corporate in Vietnam, you have to accept that, for startup, you finish your deadline and decision making, you count it by days. But in corporate, because they have, structure and layers of CEO, CFO to approve, so it's going to take them, weeks or even months to approve for the new technology come into their hands. And then also the grass is always greener on the other side. So they think other corporate can apply innovation into their into their corporate. So I can do it too, but they don't realize that one product cannot fit all. So I think those things that happen to us all the time.
Okay, thank you. So let's build on that. So switching to the corporate investor guys. So Alex, what do you think would be some of the good practice and bad practices that corporates should follow or avoid when it comes to collaborating with startups?
Okay, so good question. So we at Phoenix, we invested in traditional business and also fintech, right? So we're very financial service focused. In our portfolio, we have banks, we have consumer finance company. We also invested in micro SME finance lending business, fintechs, right? So traditionally, you look at it, you see it's very easy for Phoenix to marry these two, right? For fintech and traditional business to work together. We see, we strongly believe in collaborations, but from our experience, even the two companies in our portfolio, it's even hard to work together. Leave alone, it's just like a business, a fintech, a random fintech to work with a corporate, right? And there are no sort of obligations or there are no of incentive to do so, particularly for corporate size. But within our experience, we see, from time to time, we see the few things that we see going to be a problem and going to be, and then a few practices that we think are going to work. Let's go with do first, right? So the two things that we believe that are going to make a corporate to work with fintech successfully is first of all is the collaboration mindset. Right? It's very important that you look at the corporates and you know that they have a lot of structures, they have a lot of money and power. So it's very easy to dominate startup, particularly when they partner up together, right? And having a collaboration mindset is very important for corporate guys to compromise, I guess, to work with startups, right? The second point that we see that should do is communicate, right? You look at the structures of corporate, there's layers of people, approvals, and for startup is very lean. So communications is key. Like, often to time, I would see like the deal breakthrough, and just because the deal broke down because there's miscommunications. We see this very often when you go to different layers. So concise communications, clear communications, and to be very transparent, to be honest and upfront about it is super important to get two people to get two parties to work together. And I think clear communication is the only way to go through any issues, right? And now we're coming down to don'ts. We see, as I mentioned before, I think one of the concepts that we really believe in the don't content. Okay, you see the two sides of two parties, two different sizes, when they come together, really, as I previously shared, right? Corporate used to, they have plans, they have many plans, and they execute it very slowly. You go through different layers, and for one plan, it takes ages. On the other side, startups are very lean, and they move really forward, right? Move really quickly, and that's the part of the innovation process. So if the corporate try to contain startup basically by slowing down their process, for us is the way it's gonna slow down the innovation process too, right? So it's actually important to not to be contained, right? To let the startup to have a bit of flexibility to execute. I think that's all the insight that we have learned from working with our portfolio in traditional banks and fintech. But of course, there's a lot of other examples too.
Thank you. That's a great answer. I think share a lot of insights. You care to comment from the perspective of Grab, having been a startup and becoming a corporate yourself?
Yeah, we're still pretty much a startup at heart. Yeah.
It's a pretty big one, though.
Yeah. Well, so we move, so I'm not talking about Grab, so talk about the startup that we work with, right? So I think for Grab, there's one thing that we approach startup and corporations are very consistent. There's one word which I think until the very day we are still practicing, which is humble, right? So when we approach with startup, I think even myself or even our CEO or even our board directors are all contributor to the ecosystem, right? We didn't build it. So when we talk to the startup founder and builder, it is our humbles that gonna be displayed across and exercised across. So that help us to sort of always find a medium, a partnership angle to work with. So that's very important. That's the do. For us, the don't would be, we'll be very, very reserve. We have big reservation working with startup founders and builder who do not actually display resilience or grit, because things might get tough along the way. Your market product might not fit, right? Number just doesn't add up, right? So we will appreciate to work with startup founder and builders that are very receptive to changes, that are quick to make action and changes, and be very, very transparent about it. I think that I'll share the same thing with Alex. So that's what we have learned over the years.
Thank you. Choi, you care to comment?
Sure. So actually, as aforementioned, so at very early stage, we believe that the technologies is not a bottleneck for startup to growth, especially for the collaboration with corporates, because we are in Vietnam, where's the hub of really high quality engineers who create the products. So I think the most important thing is the industry know-how. So the startup founder should really comprehend what is the existing value chains and how technologies can come in and disrupt and create value and capture the market share from the traditional business. So that's the same thought from us too. Before we make investment, we talk with all the fund managers, VinaCapital groups. We have 6 other different funds. One of the biggest one is the VOF, Vietnam Opportunity Funds, listed in London Stock Exchange. So we talk with the industry, the fund manager to understand the business value chain in order to really validate whether the startup can come in and support the corporate. So I think the other don't is the startup should be open, but do not share everything. So should keep the trade secret, because if the corporate they think it's easy to do that, so they have the team easily to really cut out the startup founders. So we think that's the startup founders should be very be open and really improve their negotiation skills in order to have the best economics, as well as to protect their future growth pathway.
Thank you. So we heard quite a bit from the corporate innovators, investors, about what to do and what not to do when collaborating with startups. So let's go back to the founders. So aside from frustrating moments, you must have some good experiences with corporate clients. So can you share more about what you think was the right thing that you did that helped you work smoothly with them? Tony?
Well, I'm still learning, right?
Sure.
So each customer provide different perspectives, right? Once startup can figure out formula, then the game is much done, right? You can scale. That's a nice problem to have. Anyway, there's a couple of things I think startup can focus on when. So basically, just try to identify the right partners at the beginning, right? And in order to find the right partner, I think it's a few perspective or a few dimensions we can just dive in. So let's say you have secure top-level executive sponsorship, right? So once we have a top-level executive sponsor the project. And that would be much easier for the startup to go with the corporate in the long run, at least until the project is done, right? The second point is about commitment, right? From both sides, right? So well, there's always sort of like the balance between the products can offer and what the corporate client wants, right? More features, customize new features. So I think there's a balance. It's not good if you just do everything customer asks you to do, right? Because sometimes you have to be, tough and such kind of, okay, that's not the way how to be a product, right? But you need to be able to talk that to the top level executive. Right? So, but again, I mean, the most important thing is building trust. Right? I think that's sort of like, once you have trust, all other problems can be handled much easier, right? So how to build trust, right? It's very, there's no one, I think, one Cyfeer answer for this one, because it's deep down to a person that you're working with, right? Because no matter how big or how small a corporate, you're going to work with one specific person. So I think it's about how to build trust with that person and go up from there.
Okay, Phong, anything to add?
Yeah, so I heard pretty lot from the panelists here. So it's very valuable. Yeah, because it's very for me to have the perspective from the investor, from the big corporation like this. And to me, I just want to add one thing. And actually, the experience that I have when working with the corporation, the only way that there are on one condition that we need so that the collaboration will be good is that we want the same thing. Yeah, because sometimes the corporation, they want something. Okay, you don't want that thing, but because you need to work with them so that you change your goal. So you pretend that you want it, it's not work. At the end of the day, it's not work, it's never work. So I think that, to be honest, if we want to work together, we need to want the same thing. Yeah, so that's all.
Thank you. So I think we heard a lot about bridging the differences between what the corporate and the startup wants. So I think Accelerator played a really important role in that. So I want to go back to Peter in Hong Kong. So Peter, can you share with us some of the examples of what Hong Kong Science and Technology Park has done to match like corporates and startups better? By the way, congratulations on being voted the #1 accelerator in Vietnam in the last year at TechFest, right?
Yes.
So can you share with us more what Zone Startup is doing, what you're doing to to facilitate these matchings between corporate and startups?
So as Doan Startup, we also have what they call corporate accelerator. So it's where we come in and help the corporate to understand, and it's not easy to do so. For the corporate to share with us their pain point, it's not easy. And then what we call inside out and outside in. It means that we can provide a startup in our portfolio to them, or also, have multiple of training sections and sharing inside the team for them to understand what is, innovation and how to apply innovation inside the corporate and what do they need to prepare. And also sometimes we need to sit down with the decision makers to set out the innovation strategy for them, to set out the goal and the metric for them to measure the effective of the innovation that apply into their startup, so that the startup and the corporate have the same perspective and the same goal. Just add in what Peter said. So, and also for startup, we also have one-on-one training. We receive the feedback from the corporate that we send the startup to. We receive the feedback from them, say I think they're good, but they're not good. But can you be more specific on what they're not good, so we can sit down with them, set up the goal for them again, and guide them on how to win the project, or how to talk and how to work with the corporate. So yeah, that is what we do. And same with I think all over the world, all of the accelerator program doing the same thing. It's just that here in Vietnam, we do a little bit deeper. We have to sit down with both sides and listen from both sides.
Great, thank you. So I think we're almost at the end of this panel. So I just want to ask the investors today, namely VinaCapital Ventures and Phoenix. So what do you think will be the areas and industries that we will see more and more collaboration between corporates and startups in the coming years in Vietnam?
Okay, so our logic is simple. So we are looking at like the contribution to the economy. So what is like the biggest contributor? Like, so we're looking at like the real estate, retail, healthcare, and financial service, especially for financial service, which is like the traditional bank do really good right now. But one thing like they do not offer for like rising middle income class in Vietnam is like wealth management products. So as like a middle class population, we don't have much choice to make investment except like real estate or equity, listed equity. So maybe like the technology startup can come in to provide something called wealth tech solution, a platform to aggregate the products from different security firms, like fund management firms, to really have the product accessible to the mass populations.
Alex, anything to add?
So we, as an investment firm, right, we first and foremost we invest in businesses that have really high growth and potentially disrupt the market. And one of the sectors that we strongly believe in the next couple of years going to have a huge disruption that we financial services. We see the huge gap between traditional players and the new fintech players. And we continue to invest in this sector, right? So Momo investment is just one of the first one that we're gonna execute. But yeah, back to your question, the area that we believe that's going to be have a huge collaborations that in fintech, right? Because there's a huge gap to close. And you look at the market size, there are around 55 to 60 million people underbanked in Vietnam. And as you see right now, you see in the city, right? You see that everyone has a bank account, but it's not the same story in the other rural area. As an investor, as a leading investors in this sector, we see that a huge opportunity to do so, and maybe using that platform we can say like if you are fintech startups, we're very open to talk to you guys, right? Like and we have big traditional business, we can actually help you guys, right? Okay.
Thank you very much. So Quynh, back to you. one last question, I promise.
But wait, how about yourself? You're also the VC and you
Well,
expert in fintech. So what are your
I'm not,
perspective?
I'm not a panelist today, so I'll save time for you guys.
We're just here to share.
Well, so I guess for Access Ventures, I can share a bit, is that so we believe in 4 things in Vietnam, especially in post-COVID world. One is embedded finance, which meaning the integrated financial service into existing, I guess, so-called super apps. So like Grab is a good example, right, with the Mocha and Grab rewards that Vu shared earlier. The other good example is Zalo and Zalo Pay. So that's what we're seeing for Vietnam. Another thing is integrated supply chain. So what Logivan is doing, what Abivin on our side is also doing, EcoTruck and other players are doing is going to be another trend. And then obviously there are education and healthcare, especially digitally powered education and healthcare is going to be a big deal. And that's, I guess, that's something that both Home and Palexy is working towards, is to bridge the gap between physical business, physical retailers, physical activities, and online interaction between merchants, between businesses and consumers. So I think that's what everyone here can agree on. But go back to Quynh. So as an accelerator manager, someone who oversees a lot of interaction between startup in Vietnam and corporate not only in Vietnam, also internationally, how do you see the international flow of open innovation affect the corporate startup relationship in Vietnam?
From international to Vietnam?
Yeah, like from internationally, like Sunwah, for example.
So Sunwah, for example, yes.
For example.
So we do see that. We do see a lot of international corporate came into Vietnam and then searching for startups or searching for new technologies. I think, because of COVID, before COVID, we already have few Canadian companies already, put on the order to say we are looking for a startup like that. Also, at Zone Startup, we are we have the network of 8 countries with 17 offices around the globe. So we receive it all the time. For example, right now we are looking for startups working in the farm tech and agri-tech to provide back into Canada for one of the biggest farm in Canada. So we do receive it all the time. Before, they came into Vietnam and they work with us. But right now, because of COVID, so we receive it online and we do a search on the market and share with them. So I think after the COVID, there will be a wave of international company coming to Vietnam and hunt for startups.
Yeah, very excited about that. I think same for venture capital funds, especially foreign ones. So Peter, I do want to ask you from the Hong Kong side and with your experience with Hong Kong Science and Technology Park, what would be your advice for Vietnamese startups so that they can capture the wave of open innovation on a global scale? Hello? Hello, Peter? The VCs and the CVC here can all appreciate that. What about the Vietnamese founders? Anything to add? Phong, you want to go first?
Actually, at my point of view, I should talk about how we go outside of Vietnam. Yeah, that's more likely. Short term, I must admit that our team now have 25 people. Only 3 of us can speak English in work. I think we go nowhere outside of Vietnam in this situation. To be honest, I must say that. We're not well prepared for this. Luckily, we have customers outside of Vietnam, in Japan, in Singapore, because actually it's our customer here in Vietnam. And we try to, make our system much better. We're working with how can I say that? I need that the only way we can get out of Vietnam is based on our collaboration with international corporation. Yeah, because they operate in many countries. They know about how they do business there, about the operation. No way we can get out of here if we don't understand about the inside of this country and how they do business there. So I think the best way for us to get outside here is try to find a way to work with the right partner so that they can bring us together with them outside. So I think it's the point for the long term, up to me. Yeah.
For Palexy, we're a little bit different because our foreign teams, we all have international exposure, either study or work internationally before we started the company. So from day one, we already position our company as a global startup, and we focus on building disruptive technologies, like kind of deep tech startup. So yeah, we basically actually we consider Vietnam is a base market, not a target market, because of the advance of the technology and solution that we built. So Vietnam is good for us to to build the momentum, complete the product, get the use case, and then we expand internationally, and that's the goal.
Thank you. So one final question from me to everyone here. So you have to use one word to describe the keyest component to achieve a successful collaboration between corporate and startup. What would that be? Peter, can we start with you first?
Hello. So for me, fit. So from market fit, ways underserved needs, or to product fit from value propositions to product feature parks and the UX UI things.
For me, it's easy. It's open. So it has to be open from both sides to share, corporate to share the pain points so startup to understand, and startup to open to learn from the corporate.
I think for Grab would be discipline. I guess being disciplined in always being very humble to our startup partners. And also we expect the same level of discipline from our startup founders and builders, right? We work on striking what's the best deal to work with.
I think in our experience, that would be alignment. Right? Having alignment is very important from both sides, like sitting down and compromise and speak together. And then to got the alignment now. I think it's very most important. Yeah.
So for me, it's trust. So for corporate, they should give a startup a chance, right? And trust is total trust in terms of giving giving them an opportunity to apply the solution to the organization and allocate resources to do that test, right? And for startup, it's about winning trust with client and building the trust over time.
I just add one more thing. To me, is well prepared. Yeah, everything we do, the preparation is the best thing that we can do right now.
All right, thank you guys. No more questions from me, but I think now we'd like to open up the podium a bit for the audience here as well as online. So does anyone here have any questions for this panel? Composite panel like this. So please, you have a question, fire away. No? Well, let me, do we have any question from the online? I guess not. So if there's no further question, as a moderator, I would like to thank all of you today for taking your time to share with all of us about your opinion, your comments, and also your insights about the collaboration between corporate and startups. Special thanks to Peter Mock from Hong Kong Science Technology Park for taking the time to call in from Hong Kong. I know it's an hour after us, so thank you, Joe, for your time, sir. And thank you, everyone here today, and I hope you have a good evening. Thank you. And thank you to the audience for listening. Thank you.
The speakers for the very insightful discussion. Please remain on stage. And now may I have all the speakers to step to the front for the photo group, please. I would like to invite Mr. Choi, Director of Sunwah Vietnam and CEO of Sunwah Innovations, and Ms. Katie Nguyen, Vice Director of Sunwah High Tech Vietnam, to join on the stage. Thank you. Distinguished guests, speakers, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for your participation today. And now let's move to the most exciting part, networking. We hope you enjoy the food and drinks, get good connection, and have some great chat with each other. Thank you.